Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to Celebrity Natal Charts. Today, we are going to be looking at the natal chart of Christina Aguilera, who is born in New York City, New York, United States, December 18th, 1980 at 10:46 a.m. Birth time accuracy excellent. I have a lot of Aquarius in my chart, and I struggle with memory and memorizing things. So I don't even remember what video it was or who I was talking about. Maybe it was Jane Fonda. And I was trying to remember, or maybe it was Billie Eilish. I was trying to remember the woman from Reno 911. And I remembered her name is Niecy Nash. So shout out to Niecy Nash for being a lesbian queen. We love you, Niecy Nash. I think she's a Pisces. But I was trying to remember that. I just remembered it today. And then also, which I find very interesting, is that in a tarot reading, which, somebody being a foreigner or a native is relative to whatever country or city that you are native or whatever to. But, for Sagittarius, being the Page of Wands, I'm like, oh, this is a wanderer or a foreigner or someone who comes from somewhere else. So it's not to say that Jane Fonda or Scarlett Johansson or Christina Aguilera, as we're looking at today, one day they might, move to Paris or they might move to Brazil. Christina Aguilera could be in Brazil right now for all I know. You know what I mean? So they're still foreigners, I guess, or whatever, but just because all the ones I'm looking at are from, all of them are, super American that I have lined up, there was a Billie Eilish from Los Angeles, Scarlett Johansson's from New York City, Jane Fonda's from New York City, Miley Cyrus is from Tennessee, and, who is this person? I'm not doing her. I was also going to do Vanessa Hudgens, but I don't feel like... I don't feel like any of these people are super relevant anymore, but... I don't even know. Jake Gyllenhaal, he's from Los Angeles. Tyra Banks, she's from, Inglewood. Ben Stiller, he's from New York. It almost feels like I'm doing, an old episode of Drag Race or something. All the queens are from New York, but... So that's just something I've noticed in the random pattern of people that I'm selecting for this series. And I can't remember, but I think someone else was December 18th as well. And I think it was Billie Eilish. And I think this video has nothing to do with Christina Aguilera. This is just Billie Eilish take two. Um, she should be in love with Niecy Nash from Reno 911. And she might move to Brazil. I don't know. Okay, but back to Xtina. Christina Maria Aguilera, born December 18th, 1980. Oh, and I guess the 18 is significant because it has to do with Pisonian energy, where it's um, the Moon Tarot card. This person's a loner, it might be a little bit lonely, might have felt fed to the wolves at some point in her life. But she is an American singer and actress, born in Staten Island, New York, and raised in Rochester and Wexford, Pennsylvania. She appeared on television. Series Star Search and Mickey Mouse Club as a child. Aguilera rose to prominence with her self-titled debut album in 1999, which spawned 3 U.S. #1 singles: "Genie in a Bottle," "What a Girl Wants," and "Come On Over, Baby." Which "All I Want Is You." That is actually I can't I'm oh, Shakira, who listens to Shakira anymore? And then I'm oh, I love Shakira. I'm such a fool. How could I ever see anything bad about her? And then, Christina Aguilera, too. I'm oh, her career's over. Who listens to... She's in Brazil, eating bonbons somewhere, retired. And I'm oh, yeah, no, I love that song. She's a great person. What a great soul. She was one of Time's 100 most influential people in the world in 2013. I'm assuming Time magazine and not Father Time, but so that's Christina Aguilera. You guys probably know her. Let's get dirty. Let's get dirty. It's hard out here for a pimp. You know how the kids say. And She is the Sagittarius rising Aquarius. Sagittarius rising Aquarius. That sounds like a good combination, you know. Aquarius in the first house. That sort of talks about like sort of like awkwardness, being uncomfortable, and estrangement from your father and your father's side of the family. Um, I don't really know, like, other than that little bio I just read, I don't really know her story and whatever, but I know that there's some point, where her marketing or her image was very heavy, like, maybe for like an album or two, very heavily, you know, I don't know the word, like Latina-sized, you know? And I think even in the 90s and early 2000s, like Beyonce had a couple songs in Spanish, and they were all trying to do or trying to compete with the Latin wave and like Ricky Martin and stuff like that. And I think for her, it was probably very easy because I think maybe her father's family is Latin or maybe more Latino than her mother's side of the family, and but maybe there's not a strong connection there. You never know. I guess you would know. But first house in Aquarius, it's like, but even that, like first house in Aquarius and your self esteem being based off how Aquarian you are, being born on the 18th, maybe she likes the estrangement from her family, and she's like, I'm so cool. I didn't have to depend on my father for anything. Um, and with the rising sign, just talk about like, because we have these stereotypes of like, oh, this is what a Capricorn looks like, and this is what a Pisces looks like, um, and what a Sagittarius looks like, and where a Sagittarius comes from. And I'm like, well, she's from New York, which is like around the corner for me, and so she's not really a foreigner, and she's not, her skin isn't very dark, like she isn't very like orange or anything, though, like, um, and to my knowledge, like no deep rings around her eyes, like that are all very quintessential traits of Sagittarius. But then it's because that she has the rising Aquarius, she looks more like an Aquarius, like light electrifying features, like light colored eyes, light skin, light hair. Um, which she may or may not get from her father, she may or may not get from her daddy. And then her second house is in Pisces. So if this were like Lord of the Rings or World of Warcraft, with the second house in Pisces, this is like a fisherman. This is like somebody who has like maybe she's in Brazil, like becoming a fishing woman. But if it's not fish that she's selling, it is her spirituality and her connection to God. She does sort of have like the gospel sort of octave or range, like I'm not gonna do it, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Like Chef from South Park. Like she's very, I might be a little white girl, but I can sing like Aretha Franklin, which might be super problematic. And all of my critiques of Taylor Swift, and I'm like, she never really like takes it to church. Maybe she doesn't want to seem like a hokey pokey like Christina Aguilera. But the second house in Pisces also talks about like God and spirituality being your coin purse, right? So maybe eventually she will turn over to the Lord and stop being dirty. Um, Pisces in the second house, it's like it's your priority to be spiritual and to have a connection with God. And then Aries in the third house. So I forget every chart that I've read, apparently. But I do remember coming across this like Aries in the third house before for another person who I believe was from New York or from like New England or whatever. And I keep saying that the third house in Aries is very New York. It's very like the third house in Aries, Mercury in Aries. It's like, hey, I'm walking here. Like, get out of my way. Very taxi driver, as she is from New York. Um, Sounds aggressive. She might have like a really strong New York accent that she fights against as she gets older. It might come out and be more prevalent. Was she born 1980? So like 1980 New York City. I mean, it says that she moved to like Pennsylvania and a bunch of other places. Like, Staten Island. But then also, a lot of this stuff is marketing. So she very well could have been like literally born in a hospital in Staten Island in New York, and then rushed over to Rochester, and then spent most of her life in Wexford until she was on the Disney Mouse Club. But you never know. She could have been, singing I'm in the money and fighting bums for dimes in the street in New York, and that's Aries. Um, and then her fourth house, where she has Taurus. So the third house in Aries and the fourth house in Taurus, it really, to me and my understanding of astrology, talks about exactly what they were saying in her bio about like moving from an aggressive, angry city as a child and to moving somewhere that's more like bucolic and beautiful and I don't know where this place in I should maybe look it up, but like I don't know where this place in West Virginia is. Wexford. It could literally be like the slimiest, slummiest slum, but I'm assuming that it's beautiful dairy country. Okay, so so it's like moving from Staten Island to then moving to like Wexford, Pennsylvania. This would all talk about that, and then she also has a moon in Taurus, and Chiron in Taurus too. So I remember everybody was doing those proactive commercials. Like I remember like Alicia Keys and Adam Levine. And it's like all your favorite celebrities were like, I struggle with acne and I use proactive. She might have too. But with the Chiron and Taurus, the thing that I feel like she needs to be healed is like maybe her weight, maybe fat phobia, or like her relationship to her weight or her perspective on other people and their weight. So she might be like super cool vegan witch, like just the best fake bacon you ever tasted, and just, jackfruit and stuff like that. And then she goes home, or when people are away, and she's like, I want the real thing, and goes eat like a cheeseburger somewhere. So, rising Libra, they struggle with their weight as well. But I mean, rising Libra struggling with their weight could come from food, or could come from like illness or lack of mobility. Moon and Taurus, it's like emotional eating. So, like you're vegetarian all day, you're vegan all day, you're on your Atkins diet all day, but then the moment somebody says something mean and rude to you, like how I'm doing in this video, then it causes her to eat. Um, and she does have a lot of Libra later on in her chart. So I say like weight is a struggle. And maybe even having that, Chiron and Taurus, it's like I'm super insecure about my weight, but I'm very, not fat phobic and supportive of bigger people. And then, she's at the Mickey Mouse Club, or, she sees an old friend, she's Britney Spears, and she's like, I just can't help it, like the album sales and the jealousy. Hey, Britney, you're fat. Like, you know what I mean? So, I don't, she's also a Sagittarius, so she's very competitive too. So, and she could be even looking at that as what, like the hallmark of her success. And she's like, oh, well, I could have been through this, and I could have went through that, and I could have dated Justin Timberlake. But at least they're not like trying to string me up from a tree and called me fat and shaving my head bald and running through the gas station barefoot and all the stuff that Britney Spears went through. And maybe she had something to do with it. You never know. And then her fifth house is Gemini. As I always say, that Gemini is the house of sexy distractions. I would say that Gemini is the skinny sign. Like if Taurus and Libra are like the people who are struggling with their weight, I feel like every sign struggles with their weight. But I would say that Gemini is the skinny sign. And if they're not skinny, they want to be. I always kind of refer to them like if the zodiac were the pieces of Tetris, Gemini would sort of be like that blue bar. And then she has that in her fifth house, so it's like the want to be like the want to be skinny and sexy and well spoken and bilingual. Um, as Gemini's are about duality, so like being bisexual, being bilingual. Um, they say everybody says, "Oh, Gemini's bipolar," and I'm like, they're not bipolar. They're just like dishonest. So it's like, I think you're ugly and I don't like you, but I can't like throw acid in your face. So I'm gonna be like, oh, okay, you're nice, you listen to them, blah, blah, blah. And then you see them under less stressful circumstances. And it's like, I'm not gonna pretend to be nice to you because I'd never really actually liked you and like blah, blah, blah. And then like you see them again, like in a courtroom or at school or something, and you're like, oh, Gemini's bipolar. They act like they like me and they act like they don't like me. And it's like, no, they don't like you. They're just being polite sometimes, you know? If anybody's like actually bipolar, I would say it's Pisces, which is her second house. So maybe, maybe she, instead of proactive, or diet pills or whatever it is, maybe she starts advertising or advocating for some type of like bipolar medication or something. Um, or perhaps there's a lot of like bipolar Geminis in her life or whatever it is, or people are nice to her when she's popular or mean to her when she's not doing so well or whatever it might be. I love that song, Come On Over Baby. In her fifth house, I see that Come On Over Baby is a smash hit of time and legend and will forever be the anthem of America and the world. It will be the Earth national anthem. I think that would be a really good, like, I've been thinking about that too. Like, what song currently would make a good national anthem for the entire planet? And I have a couple, like, real answers, but this is, like, that's, like, a really good, like, if the Martians are attacking, you know what I mean? And we're just like, it's okay, Martians, come over and attack. Come on over, baby. Christina. So, her third house and her fourth house, I'm seeing a lot of moving and changing and aggression around her childhood environment, and then moving to a farm. With her fifth house and her sixth house, her fifth house being in Gemini. Well, her fourth house and her fifth house, Taurus and Gemini, talks about like struggling with her weight, and how she heals that is with her sixth house of Cancer. So very like rudimentary or like basic or like ignorant to say is that like, she might struggle with her weight and then she might have kids. And she's like, oh, who cares that I'm large or fat or whatever it is? I have kids. I needed to be this size um to healthily to be at a healthy weight to carry children and maternity. So, for other people when they have Cancer in their 10th house, it's like kind of sounds mean, but it's like your only purpose on this planet was to be a mother. People have Cancer in the second house. It's like it should be your biggest priority to be a mother and to have children. Cancer in the first house, it's like you are a mother. You know what I mean? So like Cancer in the first house, it's like you might actually be a mom. You could be like how in drag families, how they say like, oh, you're your mother. You're like really good at the top of your game, or that you nurture a lot of people and treat them as if they are your children. Who knows? Like, wouldn't that be really great? Like, because I remember I was watching, not Pose, but Legendary on HBO, and I was watching The House of Ninja, and I know the story of the house. I know the story of the House of Ninja and Paris is Burning and Willie Ninja, and I was like, I mean, and it's sort of racism and there's colorism involved. I mean, but that is the world. But I'm like, how cool is it for Willie Ninja to go from voguing in the park in New York to now having an international legendary drag house where all of the top voguing performers are biological females that are Asian. Like as a gay man, like if you're like a black man and then you have children with like a Asian woman and then they have children with Asian people and then like your bloodline slowly becomes Asian. It's like okay, like whatever. Um, but to be a gay man, have no children, and then have all your children be Asian is like sort of like a wild thing, right? And these people from Japan like worshiping you and honoring you as the legend, giving you credit that you are. And especially with her being like part of the Mickey Mouse Club, maybe she starts the Christina Mouse Club or the legendary House of Aguilera or something like that. So watch out, you know. And then her sixth house is Cancer. Her seventh house, kids, we should all know because it's the opposite of Aquarius, is Leo. And so this says to me that she's really good at attracting fame and attention and popularity, and also her best bet for a relationship would be somebody who's born under the sun or rising of Leo or Mercury, Jupiter, or Mars. In her eighth house, she has Virgo. So for the Virgo eighth house, it's like very giving like apothecary, like using spirituality and magic to heal yourself and also to educate yourself. So like this whole thing with like Niecy Nash, who I'll probably be saying her name all, and I know what, I could be wrong because I didn't Google it, but I'm trying to improve my memory and stuff. So I was like, I'm like, this is gonna come to me. I'm gonna use my brain and I'm gonna figure out who this person is. Uh, so it's sort of like that. Like I'm not gonna look it up. I'm gonna try to remember because I need to strengthen my memory. Um, cool. And so that's what she does. Maybe, perhaps, that she uses like her magic to help with her health. And she has her ninth house in Libra. So when I was looking at her fourth house, or wherever she had fourth house, and I was like, there's a lot of Libra coming up, which just talks more again about weight struggles. And I know she's a woman, I know she's an American, I know she's a person, and as women, as Americans, and as people, we all struggle with our weight. Whether if we're like super, you could be like a super skinny skeleton, but then constantly like, oh, I'm not going to McDonald's because I'm gonna get fat, or I can't do that, I'm gonna get fat, So it's just something that's on their mind, and they could have never been fat, they could never get fat, they could, die at 80 pounds, but it's just something that's on the mind, right? And so she has Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto in Libra. So it's like, I guess you're a teenager from the Mickey Mouse Club. You see how they pretty much burned Britney Spears at the stake for having a little bit of belly fat. They tried to do the same thing to Lady Gaga, and it's like Lady Gaga's not about being skinny. Lady Gaga's about being a monster. Like, what are you talking about? She can be fat if she wants to. Like, she's not like, if she's like Lady Gaga's like the anti Britney, like the anti Christina. Like, I'm covered in meat. Please don't like me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know you're gonna like me either way, but I'm covering myself in meat, raw meat down the runway. Please don't like me. That's my aesthetic. With her, Jupiter in Libra, Saturn in Libra, Pluto in Libra, it's like her weight, whatever that is, like skinny or fat, brings her a lot of luck and fortune. And people like Lizzo or an opera singer, like if Christina Aguilera actually wanted to be 300 pounds and sing opera, and nobody else in the pop world is singing opera, I'd probably listen to her. And probably give her like more bass to her voice and stuff. But then what is it? It's like Jupiter is 8 degrees in Libra, and so is Saturn is 8 degrees in Libra. What else was in Libra? Pluto 23. So it's like 8 is like a number meaning like crazy. Like it's like her weight is like of a crazy importance, and it is a crazy limitation for her, and she has a crazy amount of luck. Pluto 23 degrees in Libra, it kills her. You know what I mean? Like, so maybe she had like a lap band surgery or a stomach tuck or something, or maybe she will when she's older. So it's like of extreme importance, like a crazy amount of importance to her weight. It's also her ninth house, so maybe it also revolves around like her getting married or divorced. It's like a long-term battle and struggle. If she's looking for a sign that would be good for a long-distance relationship or a long-term relationship like a marriage, it would be the sign of Libra. But also, whoever this Libra would be would bring her a lot of good luck and fortune, but also get in her way. Because Saturn is the planet of limitations. And then in her 10th house, she has Scorpio. Which, like, looking at her chart, and like her Aquarius rising, it's like, oh, she's supposed to be like in the church somewhere. Like, she's like really supposed to be like a preacher's wife. Um, and what else does she have in Scorpio? Scorpio, she has Uranus in Scorpio. So her destiny is to be this like spiritual healer. Maybe, and maybe she's been doing it the whole time. Maybe she's been spiritually healing us. She's been 8th house Virgo, 10,000 Scorpio this whole time. Because I was kind of like not in a bitter mood, but like, I'm trying to do like 200 videos here. Oh my God, Christina Aguilera, like, who the hell cares about her, you know? And then I just saw the name of one of her songs, and I was like, oh, I'm instantly happy now. I was like, I instantly feel like sunshine. I was like, she might be magic. I was like, I forgot about, and that is the magic of pop music, like, You might think Katy Perry is stupid. You might think that Britney Spears is ugly or crazy or whatever it is. But you can't help but bob your head along to some of the songs, and I instantly felt better. I was like, oh yeah, Coming Over Baby. It started playing on my head. I was like, I love that song. I love her. Like, what am I talking about? Never make another song. Like, just keep the greatest hits on repeat. So Scorpion energy, Scorpio's in her life, create boundless, knock down boundaries for her. So, I don't know any singers from like the 70s or 80s that are Scorpios. Maybe Pat Benatar. She seems like she'd be like an Aries or something. But it's like for whomever. I mean, Scorpio, water signs, Black African diaspora, maybe Mariah Carey, she's an Aries, or somebody, some Scorpio person. It could have been a jazz singer at a bar, at a corner store or something. It could be Bleeding Gum Murphy from Simpsons, but some Scorpio like really like knock down boundaries for her. Could be like a suit in the background somewhere. Um, but that's Scorpio. That's her 10th house, and then her 11th house of Sagittarius, where she also has her sun. She's like a super Sag. Sun in Sagittarius, Mercury in Sagittarius, Venus in Sagittarius, Neptune in Sagittarius, Midheaven in Sagittarius. Like, so if Christina Aguilera is ever challenging you to a fight, if Christina Aguilera ever has it in her mind that you are her enemy, just move out of town and leave, because she will like set your whole life on fire. Like, what is this? She's competitive with her soul and her spirit. And she is like a soul singer, you know what I mean? Like, maybe not, she always hits the like, I kind of want to do it, I don't want to do it, but you guys know what I'm talking about, like the soul singer rift type thing, and she does that a lot, and she's the best at it. I don't really feel like, Mariah Carey is famous for the high E, and, I don't know, I don't want to talk about it anymore. So she's a Mercury in Sagittarius, so she's like, I sing better than you, I can talk more than you, I can talk longer than you, I can say more words than you, I can speak more languages than you. Very competitive about speech. Venus in a Sagittarius, it's 0 degrees, so I guess maybe it's not that strong. But she's like, I have more boyfriends than you, I love them more authentically and more genuine than you. Venus in Sagittarius, I'm prettier than you, my powers of attraction work harder than you. And then they have the Neptune in Sagittarius as well. So so Neptune in the series, I keep saying that it's generally the person who pushes you on to doing television. Was most likely under the sign of Sagittarius. But as she is a Sagittarius, it could have been her. She could have been like, I want to be on TV. I want to be on TV. There's a million biopics. It's like sometimes the parents are shitty, grifty, con artists who are like, I don't want to work a job. I'm gonna put my kid on the facts of life and milk him like a cow. And then some kids are like, I don't want my parents to work a job, and I want to be the daddy of the family. Put me on the Disney Channel or the facts of life so you guys don't have to work. And I kind of get that from her. Like, she wants to take care of her family, and she wants to be like the boss and the man. Not like the man, but like the man. You know what I mean? Like, she's the man. She picked up the bill. She's good. We love her. Christina, yay, Christina, boomba, yay. So that's her 11th house. She probably has a lot of Sagittarius friends, which sounds like a headache. Like, she's just, I mean, that's the thing too. So, like, if I was Christina Aguilera and I'm a Sagittarius, it's like I would start some type of like singing drag family of losers who are like not as good at singing at me, and then I get to be the mother and be better at singing than everybody. Be like, no, 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 you're singing it wrong. Do it like mommy. I would totally do that if I were her. I would do that if I were me. But I don't sing like Christina Aguilera. That's not my purpose. It's not my chart, right? Okay. So finally, Miss Aguilera, she has the 12th house in Capricorn, meaning that business makes her miserable. And it's sort of like what I would assume from most actors or most singers, where it's like, I know how to sing real good. I know how to dance real good. You want me to do tax returns and W-4s and 1199s? I don't even know what that means. So it makes her miserable. Um, she also has Mars in Capricorn, so it makes her miserable and angry and maybe like a little bit of aggressive, like to talk maybe about business or. And she's been in the biz, in the biz and show business since she was a child, so like it probably does like, okay, this is how much we're gonna pay, Britney. This is how much we're gonna pay Justin Timberlake, and this is how much we're gonna pay you. This is brass tacks. This is how much you are worth. And it might suck even for like to hear a tarot reader to be like, your second banana or your third banana to Vanessa Hudgens and Britney Spears and Miley Cyrus and all these other new people coming out, and she's very competitive. So Capricorn energy, Capricorns in general, kind of make her miserable. And then also Capricorns tend to have a more angular face, like not all the time, always, but sometimes they have like a more angular face, like David Bowie. And I think that she has a very like round, soft, like Cancerian face, like like a mama, like a grandmama. She might have plastic surgery in her face a little bit too, because of that. Looking at this picture, and makes her miserable because why? And then why get plastic surgery? Why hate your face? Why all of a sudden start to tout you being Latino? It's for business. It's for money. It's for marketing. Um, and I think that probably just like her son is like really on the cusp of like Sagittarius and Capricorn, like within her chart. Where's her sun? Isn't like not really kind of like whatever. Completely isn't 26 degrees of Sagittarius. But when you're looking at the chart, it looks like it's right next to the Capricorn thing because of the glyph and stuff. But um, so probably like hurts her soul. Probably makes her feel like inactive and not wanting to get out of bed because she's like, and the hallmark of time, like Britney Spears is like the quintessential 90s pop star. And then it's like everybody else is sort of like somewhat of a subsidiary of Britney Corp. And it's like this thing with like, I don't know if you used to use like, Napster or LimeWire like back in the day. And it's like you'd be looking for Come On Eileen by Save Ferris. And, people are like, Save Ferris? What is that? Like, this is Gwen Stefani, no doubt. And I was like, damn, like, in 20 years, every blonde woman that has ever got in front of a ska beat is just going to be Gwen Stefani. Which she sort of abandoned and is like trying to be Asian, trying to be black, and I don't know whatever else. I have an answer for her though, for like what she should be, but so it's sort of that thing where it's like, okay, the 1990s Mickey Mouse Club pop stars, the number one gold medal one is sort of Britney, like unquestionably, even if Come On Over Baby is a better song than her whole discography. It's just where it is, and I think that sort of makes her miserable. And that has been my analysis of Christina Maria Aguilera's natal chart. And thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing, and finding your best friend who is a Sagittarius, who probably is not your best friend, but finding a best friend who is a Sagittarius with the rising Aquarius. You can tell them how wonderful and great their life is going to be, and how similar they are to Christina Aguilera, and how Britney Spears is better than them. And that will be the end of your message. Like, oh, watch this video by Tarot Bay. I think you are my second banana. Have a good one. All right, thank you so much for listening, liking, sharing, subscribing. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.